Hi everyone, good morning, happy Monday. Welcome to the Monday morning check-in and setting the tone for the week. I'm finally on the computer so I can actually look at you, which is nice, instead of the iPad, which is off to the side. When you come on, please let me know that you can hear me. Please let me know how you are, how you're feeling, what's going on in your world. Starting off with a card. Two people in the house. Yay! Hi, Aurora. I'm finally looking at the screen. So nice. Still have to look to the side. Hi, Haruka, for the comments, but it's so nice to be sort of a bit more set up. Is everything fine? Can you hear me well? Is it? Yep, good, great, beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to talk about something specific today that is actually, I started talking about it in book club on Thursday night, and I'm going to expand on it today, but it's really been coming to me over the weekend, so I'm sticking with this. There's a couple of things I'm going to talk about, but test it up, start with a card. So let's start with a card. Sorry, I know that occasionally that's a bit glitchy. Good morning, Aurora. Monday mornings are good, are clean around this time, so chuck the headphones on while I'm listening. Beautiful, I love that. Yeah, I love Monday mornings too. I've always loved Monday mornings, but they're a really beautiful way to set up for the week. Hello, Jane. Welcome. Lovely to have you here. So starting off with a card, and then I'm going to go into talking about envision, create, and embody. Okay, and I'll tell you about why this came up and how it started and where my understanding of it is going to now. So the card that we're starting off with, hi Marianne, is from the Starseed Oracle deck, Rebecca Campbell. Not sure if on the live you're seeing that the right way around, but it is lifting the veil, questioning everything, anything unaligned must go. Lifting the veil, questioning everything, anything unaligned must go. Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, so I love that as like a lead-in. I love that as a lead-in. Anything unaligned must go. That comes up more and more lately. Like it just, and in fact, I heard I watched a little Laurie Ladd reel this morning, and she was saying that, did anybody else see it? It was a really good analogy. She said, it's like we're being pulled back in a slingshot. The things that are pulling us back are things like relationships, jobs, probably I would put in there belief systems, all of that sort of stuff, pulling us back. But we think so that when those things go and we're able to catapult forward, we feel them as a loss, but it's actually they had to go in order for us to move forward. Yeah. So that is exactly that. Anything unaligned must go. So although I understand this is a time of great loss for people, this is a time of great transition for people, this is a time where there isn't a lot of stability. People who like stability are not going to be loving this time, let's be honest, right? And the people who will thrive at this time, which is another thing I spoke about in book club, to be able to thrive at this time is to be able to be in the unknown. Right? To get comfortable in the unknown is how you're going to thrive at this time. So all of that is going to be reliant on you, because the outside is going to continually shift. It always has. It just looked like it didn't. It's going to continually shift. It's going to break apart. It's going to fall apart. Cracks are going to appear. Veils are going to be lifted. Interesting with the voice. Is that me? No, it's everybody collectively. Okay. Veils are going to be lifted. And so there's going to be this constant change and this constant flux. And you're going to be, I was talking to someone that actually, it was somebody in a session, and they were saying like they keep feeling like they're being dumped. They keep feeling like there's waves and they keep getting dumped under. And we were saying that really what has to happen is that you need to be okay you need to bring the stillness to the water, because the waves are going to keep going. right? So envision, create, embody. How did this come about? This started because I love the mind, and I mean, I love the mind. I talk about it all the time. I teach about it all the time. I wrote about it because for me, it was the biggest shift. The biggest shift was when I reclaimed my mind and I made it my ally. So, because I've always loved the mind, I don't like when people kind of demonize it in a way. When people say, um, when people talk about it, and to me, I feel like you're talking about the ego, but you're saying the mind, as though there isn't any aspects to the mind that are higher, as though the mind is not a beautiful portal, right? To connect us to our higher selves, to connect us to source, God, spirit, whatever word it is that you use. And so I spent most of my life, I spent 30 something years. I spent a good 30 something years at the mercy of my mind. And then I started reclaiming my mind. And I've spent the last 10 or so with my mind as an ally. And just seeing the changes that brought in my life, like just the shifts are huge. It stopped being torturous to be here because I actually had this thing that was working with me. But something that I needed to learn was the power of the heart and the power of the body, right? Because I'm a mind person, and I know many of you who are probably attracted and drawn to my work are mind people also. The first thing I want you to know is if you're a mind person, your mind is your superpower. Don't we love thinking, we love playing things around, we're often highly visual people, we can often get stuck on something, carry it for a really long time. We've been taught that these are all like weaknesses, that people will say just drop into your heart. Okay, yeah, I get that. Or other people are like fully in their body, and that may not feel right for you. It never did for me. I was missing out for sure. But I want to start by saying, please don't disregard your mind and the power that it has. In this life experience with a matrix overlay, we get taught to stay away from our minds. We get encouraged to get out of our minds. We get told like our minds are weak or they're flawed, or they like just like, and whenever they say that to you, there's something in that, which is the same with the body and the heart for sure. But I want to let you know, if you are, hi Fiona, if you are a mind person, welcome to your superpower. Now, so reclaim it, use it for you, use it as a tool, as an ally, use it as the powerful portal that it is. And now, if you haven't already, it's time to shift into understanding the power of the heart and the power of the body so that the three of them can work together, right? But most likely, our superpower will lie in one. Most of us are probably more one than the other. I've really resonated with the theory. It came to me. I know it's not mine. I'm sure you might have heard it a million times, but it just came to me many years ago, meaning that I didn't read it. It kind of just sort of dropped in, and I was like, oh, I think we're all cells. We are each cells on one body. We're each individual cells. And just like in a body, you have brain cells, you have heart cells, you have skin cells, muscle cells, bone, whatever you've got, we're each like that too, where we each have a specific kind of, maybe we have more power in one area than in another. So here's what I'm now really realizing and learning about how the three work together. So the mind envisions. The mind is where we envision where we want to move to, what we want to live in, what we want to create, what we want to expand into, right? Which is why it's so important to get rid of all the constraints and the constriction of the past, which is why we need to recognize ego, be able to separate out from it and move beyond it. Because if we're coming from ego, and if you're here for the first time or you're listening to the replay for the first time, you haven't heard me talk about this stuff before. Ego, the thing we all have, the least evolved part of our mind. It cannot problem solve from a new perspective. So what it does is it uses the past to tell you what the present means and to tell you what will happen in the future. It uses the past to determine the future. And when you're stuck in that, you're just going to be in cycles and loops of the same old repeat. You're kind of like stuck on repeat because you will keep thinking that this means something, the things before you right now mean something based on what you've learned in the past, which means nothing can ever change. When we can move beyond that, we can start to use the mind as our expansion tool, as our envisioning, our like what do I want to experience, that whole thing. So we're envisioning with the mind. But then the heart is what will create it. So what we now know, what we're learning from teachers, is that the heart is far more powerful in its frequencies, in its resonance, than the mind. So the mind envisions, and then the heart creates with its resonance, with its frequency, which is why, and I'm going to talk about emotions, which is why emotions are so powerful, and the need for you to own your own is so important, right? Because the heart, once it receives your vision, the heart will go into creating that for you by emitting the frequency that will create that opportunity for you. The body is required in this life experience that we're having, in this ride that we're on. The body is required to be able to embody the thing that we wish to experience. So when we are fully in those three, when we master those three, because let me know if you're anything like me. I always used to believe, because I'm a mind person, I always believed that true mastery would be acquired once I was out of my body. That I would need to be beyond this human experience, beyond the body experience, and light or pure frequency or whatever, in order to fully attain my mastery. And I now realize, no, we came here. Now, whatever level of mastery we were at before this time, of course, I'm using time just for ease of human brain understanding, whatever level of mastery we were at before we came into this experience, this one is helpful. This one is next level. Particularly if you're here at this time, particularly if you are listening to this video, if you are listening to this kind of conversation, if you yourself are having this kind of conversation, if you yourself are getting downloads and insights about this kind of stuff, then you are here to take your mastery to the next level. And rather than seeing the mind, the heart, or the body as a weakness, understanding that it is part of this trio of true mastery in this space. You have come to master this arena. You have come to master this space. And you do that by owning those three aspects of you. So by owning your mind, so that you're envisioning your own vision. Now that gets really easily hijacked. Have a look at the media. Have a look at our understanding now of how much there is an attempt to hijack the mind and give us someone else's vision. So much so that most of us don't even know our own vision. We don't know it because we've got stuff, we have collective stuff running through there. We are surrogating for each other. We are picking up on each other. There's just stuff being, I've often spoken about the analogy of like the projector screen, or being in an arena and watching, or being in a theater and watching the stage, but thinking it's real. but it's actually a projector screen. You have a receiver, there is a projector screen, and there is a vision being projected onto you. So the first thing that is required is reclaiming your mind and reclaiming your vision so that it's your vision and not someone else's. The aspect with the heart, now am I still on? Because there's no comments coming up and I'm on the computer, I'm just double checking that you're still with me. Just let me know if you're still with me and if all's clear so far. Beautiful, thank you. Haruka, yes, I feel the mind connects the body with the higher planes. Yeah, for sure. So then the heart, great, thank you, ladies. So then the heart, any men in the house? So then the heart creates. So how is that hijacked? Well, that gets hijacked with this beating down, well, not beating down, beating up on emotions, this disconnect with emotions. We do it, we have it taught to us, and then we teach it to each other. We enforce it on each other from birth. Oh, hey, Ben, representative of the men in the world. So we do this suppression of emotions, right? We start it with children, we teach it to each other, we get taught it in school, we get taught it all through our lives to suppress our emotions. Why? Again, there is that agenda for taking away the power. Now, here's the interesting thing. You get taught, okay, okay, thanks, Aurora. So here's the interesting thing with emotions. We get taught, so I'm talking about teaching from society. We get taught that they're a weakness. We get taught that we should be able to control them from a really young age. Children get taught, don't have that meltdown, don't be angry, don't cry, don't be sad, don't laugh, it's inappropriate right now, don't be in joy. I mean, put children at a table with food, not allowed to giggle, not allowed to have fun, not allowed to have joy. Everything has to be serious. Don't play up, don't jump around, don't be energetic. We just suppress. And then through teen years, more suppression. We continually get taught that our emotions are a weakness. And in the last sort of probably, particularly kind of 20 years, probably way before then, just in different forms, medicate your emotions. You're depressed, you're anxious, you're let's give you a mental illness. And hang on, I'm just going to close that. It's a little bit full on. Okay. In order to make us feel like our emotions are a flaw, right? Make us more robotic, make us emotionless. It's intentional because there is so much power in your emotions, because your emotions are the creation part. That's how you emit the frequency when you learn to master them, not to suppress them, not to control them, not to medicate them, but to master them, right? So that's that aspect of this trio. Your emotions, your heart and your emotions is what is going to connect your vision to your creative center, your heart. And that is how you're going to emit out the frequency. That's how you're going to set the tone. So more and more, I'm learning what set the tone actually means. Wrote a book, called it Set the Tone, but was given that title, really had no clue how much it was referring to the fact that we are literally a tuning fork. We are literally, when we learn how to set the tone fully, yes, I mean it in all the other ways too. I mean it in all the ways, but I didn't realize, it's something that I've actually learned since the writing of the book, how powerful that statement is, and that it actually means walking the earth as a tuning fork, constantly creating your own frequency. Okay. And then the body part of this is because we're spiritual beings, but we're in a physical realm. We have not been. If you're anything like me, I spent many years, decades feeling like, why am I here? I felt like I got off the bus at the wrong stop. I felt like I was in the most insane place, the densest, I just wanted out. I wanted out. I felt the body was very constricting. It felt like a prison to me, actually. It felt like a punishment. I wanted out and I wanted to fly. I wanted to expand. So what I am learning, and you know, I was going to say ironically, but it's not, because everything is beautifully symbolic and everything is right on time and everything is as it should be. When I started to become so chronically unwell in 2019, that is when I really started to learn. At the same time, I didn't put it together until later on, but that is when I really started to understand, oh, like, when we say to embody something, you have to have a body. Okay. I mean, you might be going, well, no shit, Sherlock. But to me, this eluded me. Okay. This eluded me, that we can't embody something without a body. And so that we would have very purposefully chosen and very purposefully been given this portal. So that's the realization I had like a week ago or something. I shared it with you in one of the other lives. The body is a portal. Oh, okay. The body is a portal. This flying and this freedom that I want access to, that undoubtedly I've had access to in other forms, that undoubtedly I have access to right now as I am in other forms, but that the whole purpose of being here, aside from being way showers and aside from being sort of the first wave, and aside from setting the tone and living as an example for others to wake them up, aside from all of that, we each have our own mission and our own purpose here, and it is expansion. It always is expansion. So that requires the body. And again, what have we been taught? It's a weakness. It's flawed. It's sinful. It's of the devil. Don't touch it. Don't enjoy it. Don't focus on it. Don't be in love with it, because that would make you a narcissist. Don't, all the things we get told. See all the ways. If the mainstream message, if the cultural message, if the message growing up is this is flawed, if the religious message is this is flawed, always look at that and go, okay, what's the power here? Because that is where they intervene. That is where they get between you and this powerful thing that you have. So we envision, our mind envisions, our heart creates, and then our body allows us to embody it. So whether you're embodying power, whether you're embodying peace, whether you're embodying joy, whether you're embodying mastery, whether you're embodying whatever you wish to embody, right? It's not just about that stuff. The material stuff is here not to trip us up. The material stuff is here to add fun, to add joy, to add fun and joy and an extra dimension to our experience. Once we continue, well, we are stepping into our mastery for sure. We are. You can see it, you can feel it. But part of that mastery is understanding, oh, these things that are here physically, firstly, I can create them. Firstly, I can make matter. I can make matter with what I make matter. I make matter with what I make matter. As currencies change, as frequencies change, as dollars crumble, as countries, whatever, implode, as whole industries, as whole structures literally implode in front of our face. What's happening is the veil, it's the lifting of the veil, right? This is you opening up that matrix veil where you've lived like a child, where you have lived like a child at the mercy of the crumbs and the handouts, because you've been taught that you are not self-sufficient. You cannot be self-sufficient. You've been taught this world is harsh. The resources are limited. And then, of course, you've been programmed from your own parents. What are you going to do for a living? What are you going to do for a living? Like, even the terminology of, like, how will you earn your living? We get taught we need to earn it. We're not entitled to stuff. You're not entitled. You're not entitled. How will you earn your living? How will you prove your value? How will you stop being as flawed as you are? What pills will you go on? What exercise regimes will you do? How will you get out of your head? How will you stop being so sensitive? You know, the sensitive person where their superpower is all in their heart, where they're literally like a heart on legs. That is your superpower. Start to bring in the mind, start to bring in the body, help to balance it all out. Okay, but can you see? So I'd love to know now, comments, insights, questions. How's this resonating with you? Are you able to, like, as I give these examples, can you see from in your own life what you've learned either from parents or, you know, family members, religion, TV, media, like society, where the narrative gets hijacked. The narrative gets hijacked. Beautiful. I love that you're resonating. The narrative gets hijacked so that you start to think these things are flawed, and so that you start to try and get out of them. You feel like you're too much of something, and so that you don't look into the power that they hold, the superpower that they are for you, and the portals that they are, because we've come here to up our mastery, not to slum it for a lifetime, like I used to think, right? I wanted my money back. There's rats in the roof. What's the symbolism of that? I wanted my money back. I was sure I'd been dropped off at the wrong place. And then, you know, and then learning that, okay, you know, you're always in the right place at the right time. I was like, yeah, I can say it, but I don't quite believe it. I think the final key piece for me is this now. It is this understanding that I am not here slumming it. I never felt I was being punished because I always had a relationship with God. I always knew God in different forms, obviously, as I was growing up. God evolved as I evolved. But I always felt like it was a step, it was a de-evolving. Is that the right word? It was a what's the word? A de-evolved or something. It was not, and now I realize, oh no, this is like a massive part of my evolution. This and all of ours. This is like this experience here that we're currently going through, because the thing is, because this place is so dense, so it's with the veil. Yes, I believe that the mind and body are flawed. Now I feel I need them for my mission. Yes, we've been taught that on purpose, Haruka. We've all been taught that. Our mind is flawed. It'll do your head, like you'll do your head in, get out of your head, get out of your mind, get out of your mind. Every time somebody said to me, get out of my mind, I thought, no, that's not right. I'm not meant to get out of my mind. I'm meant to transform my mind. I'm meant to make my mind my ally. My mind is meant to be like a beautiful place that I want to live in, because I just knew instinctively that it was for me. I just knew instinctively that it was not flawed. I felt like the experience was flawed. I felt like planet Earth was flawed. I felt like all of that was flawed, which is what I was, you know, obviously realizing and picking up on was the matrix. So opening the veil, what we're doing now with the crumbling, with the falling apart, we are the lifting of the veil. So I know that many of you might feel hope for a time where the lifting of the veil is all of the news reporters, you know, all the mainstream people, the science, the whatever, are going to come out and say, Okay, we were all in on it. You were duped. The people that knew were right. They were right. Get down on your knees to them. Say, oh my God, you were right all along. How could I have been so stupid? And let's all ascend. Okay. The unveiling, the revealing that keeps being talked about will be an individual job. It's an individual thing where you in your life go, oh, okay, I've actually I've actually been led to believe that I can't create something. Like, okay, we're all turning to, well, we're not all. It's a ridiculous statement. Many of us are turning to growing food. I am growing food and I am wrapped with myself. I am thinking like I am a fucking superstar that I can put a seedling in the ground and water it and get food. Like the joy is high. It's wonderful, wonderful feeling. The next step, of course, would be to realize that I don't actually need the seedling or the earth or the water. Okay. The next thing would be in the mastery would be to realize that when I envision and I create and I embody, then I am actually going to create these things myself, but that blows ego's mind because it goes, well, I have no reference point for that. We have to completely be able to move out of ego, not get rid of it, not any of that, but we have to be able to move out of ego and we have to realize that there are things that we can do that we have no concept of. There are things that having a body and 3D enables us to do, but we have no understanding of the power of that, the joy of that, the portal of that, right? The veil is that belief of, I need you to help me with this. I need a job to get money. I need the supermarket for food. I need the this for that. I need the this for that. And it's what we're being given the opportunity for in this ascension is to go, no, actually, even within the human body, I don't have to leave it. It's the whole thing where I always felt like I had to leave it to fly. I don't have to leave it to fly. Part of that is going to be moving beyond this constant thing we've been taught about there is not enough, there is limited resources, you would die without me. You were born into a system that taught you from the time that you literally came into this experience, you will die without me. And all the ways it shows up. And because we think, I will die without you, because that's programmed in so deeply, I will die without you. We've made that express itself in, I would die if my parents didn't look after me. I would die if I didn't have food. I would die if I didn't have water. I would die if I didn't have a job to pay my bills. I would die if this person left me. I would die if I lost my career and had no sense of purpose or sense of self. I would die if I lost all my possessions. It comes up in a million ways, right? But it all stems back down to that key core thing that we get taught from the time you would die without me. And what is running that programming is the matrix. And it's part of the amnesia kind of template. It's part of the forgetting who you are, where you walk around, the other day, just the statement came to me of like, you are kings and queens begging for crumbs. You're kings and queens begging for crumbs, begging people to pay us $10 an hour while we pick fruit because we can't get a job somewhere else, begging whatever. All that kind of stuff, begging for crumbs from each other, begging for crumbs from the government, begging for crumbs from whatever, because that is part of the forgetting who we are. It's really vital. Like, can you feel how important that part is? That if you start unraveling that part, the whole thing falls apart. If you start unraveling that, you know what, I don't need you, which is why they kind of make sure that you aren't allowed to get away from it enough to realize, I don't need you. Have a look at the floods and how they're currently teaching us. The storm up here in the hills in the Dandenongs last year did the same thing. The government literally just did not arrive. There just was no help. Now that was heartbreaking and awful at the beginning, and then after a while, we started to get into this rhythm. Like now, from what I can see, there is help now on the ground in the flooded areas, but at the start there wasn't. There was each other, there was community, there was people helping each other, and the more they did that, the more they realized we don't need this. We don't need this. Now they don't want you to know you don't need this. They don't want you to know that because it would all fall apart really quickly. And I want you to know that's what the unveiling is. Okay. It's not Jennifer Kite coming up at, on the 10 o'clock on the Channel 10 news saying, okay, we lied. We've lied all along. Here's the list of truths. Rolling up on your screen now is the list of truths. We've always been lying. Please turn to the people sitting currently in your house who knew that we were lying and ask them for forgiveness. This is not what the unveiling is. The unveiling is you realizing you will not die without them. You are kings and queens. You do not need crumbs. You are in a phase of mastery. You are like upping your mastery. Your whole purpose for being here is actually to navigate it yourself, not like the children, not like we've been doing it like children. We've been living like children, asking our parents like for help. And it's time to move beyond that. Yes. Oh, yes, a lot of yoga, spiritual teachings disregard the mind. Yeah. Yeah. Dogma. Just signing up to Urban Farmer course. So excited. Beautiful. Yeah, you'll love it. You'll love it. It will give you a thrill. And like I swear the food just tastes a million times better when you grew it yourself. So much joy in it. And you know why there's so much joy in it? Because it gives us a slight insight into what it's like to be the creator beings that we are, right? So when we create something, I'm sure it feels the same like when you build your own house or you build a structure somewhere or when you use your body like to move beyond something like say running a marathon or swimming whatever a great length, like when you are able to do something kind of that is difficult and challenging and creative and you see what you have created. It would be what people feel like when they give birth, all of that, like the creation part of your ability to create. That is the same with food. And I think that that gets sparked when we see the food that we have grown when we eat it. And it reminds us of that and it brings us back into the joy of creating our own thing and not lining up at the supermarket and not putting our hand out to the government saying, please support me because I can't do it myself. Or now I understand within the matrix, within the 3D structure, it's difficult to be self-sufficient within the 3D structure because this is a structure that requires money and requires for you to kind of be in the system. But that is where we're all very fortunately being thrown out. We're being thrown out of the system. And every time we are, I think there's a lot of value in this. There's a lot of good in this. There's the opportunity for us to be one step away again from the matrix and another step from the matrix and another step from the matrix and another step from the matrix. And I understand we're still in that free fall where we've jumped out the plane and the chute hasn't opened yet. I get it. And our ego's going, oh my fucking God, I have absolutely no reference. We're going to die. We're going to die. We're going to die. So right now, you, me, collectively, those of us who are aware and awake have jumped out of a plane. We're hurtling towards the ground. Ego's going, we're going to die. We're going to die. We're going to die. The matrix programming is you will die without me, you will die without me, you will die without me, while we watch it crumbling and we're like, oh my God, we're all going to die. We're all going to die because what will we do? The food shortages and the petrol prices and there'll be no jobs and we'll be in camps and all of that. Can you see how that working together, your ego and the programming, which your ego is what connects you into the matrix programming. It is your connector. So that's your projector screen that you can shift around. So the reason I said that's being aware is because if you're awake, you would remind yourself This is what the unveiling looks like. This is what the unveiling looks like. I'm perfectly safe. I've just forgotten that. I'm perfectly able to sustain my own life. I have just forgotten that. I am perfectly able to create. I am a master. We are the creator beings. We have just forgotten that. That's the difference between being awake and aware. When you're awake, you'll be able to stay in your power no matter how crazy things get. I 100% feel at the moment we wanted to be here in this body. We wanted to experience all this. We create this experience. And when we are not in the experience, we'll be like, oh, okay, I get it all now. Okay, take me back. Yeah, yes, for sure. And so that amnesia programming, that's the matrix, right? Where that's how we've gotten stuck in these cycles, these karmic cycles of death, rebirth, death, rebirth, death, rebirth. We got stuck in that. Well, okay, I don't know that you and I got stuck in it. There are many beings stuck in that. There are many beings that are stuck in that. One of the main reasons I'm a hard no for that is because I feel like if I had that, I might forget this. So what's happening now with the ascension, with this portal being open for mass ascension, is that there are enough of us remembering who we are, and we're choosing to step out of that matrix programming, so we're not going to go back into the forgetting. Because what would happen is you'd remember who you are, and then you would die. Now, of course, aspects of your soul and your being are always off in having other experiences, but this human aspect of you would die and then get recycled, be reborn, baby, kind of remember who we are, get taught to forget who we are. The system starts to project onto the screen. We forget who we are, it gets suppressed. We go back into the propaganda machine where we get taught to forget who we are. We start treating babies like they don't know what they're doing. We start treating children like they're not masters. We make sure that we all forget, bop each other on the head when we start to remember, bop each other on the head. Who do you think you are? Go back down. We teach each other, this is flawed, the body is flawed, it's all falling apart. I mean, imagine insanity like autoimmune disease. Imagine when we have forgotten ourselves so much that we think the body, which is literally just here to serve you, it is your servant, would attack you. That's how much we had forgotten ourselves. And we are here to remember who we are. Now, in the great remembering that we're currently doing, this takes power away. If enough of us become such high vibration that we're no longer feeding the matrix, like if enough of us turn our projectors off and go, nah, I'm not going to be your food source anymore, then they don't have enough power to run the show, right? Then we're going to see that it's literally just like the wizard on the Wizard of Oz, that it's just this little being, that we are these giants, and it is this little being siphoning our energy. That's why they harness our emotions. That's why they go, here, watch this movie. Here, watch this news thing. Here, watch a war. Here, watch these people kill these people. And this is why they're I've said it before if you've been here a while, but to remind you, and if you're new, the whole purpose of, like, we need to gain mastery over our emotions, because while we can be manipulated into, here, I feel happy, now I feel sad, now cheer, now boo, while we're doing that, which we all do, we're all still in that to some degree. We need to take responsibility for that's the power source for the matrix. They harness all of that. They beam a vision onto our mind. We envision it for them. We lend our emotions to their agenda, to their vision. We lend our emotions to them because they're not as powerful as what we are. And we help them through that to create their vision. And then we step into it and we live it out like it's our reality. That is what the unveiling is, not Jennifer Kite telling you, oh, sorry, so we were like full of shit. That is the unveiling. I feel like that's a lot. I feel like I should probably leave it there. I did have a couple of other things, but I feel like that's a lot for today. So in the last 10 minutes, any questions, any comments, and I will pull another card to see what else we might just, what messages, and also how we're going to set the tone for the week. Start to be really conscious. What tone are you setting? What like knowing your tuning fork, what tone are you setting? Yes, I've been dependent on the government financially as 99.999% of the population for the last 2 years. And initially I thought, yay, I don't have to work, but it doesn't feel empowering. Yeah. And, the dependence on the government comes in so many forms, Haruka, but yeah, it is not empowering. It can feel good for a while. I think it feels good for ego because ego goes, oh, we can kind of sit back and relax for a bit. And ego goes, I don't have to have this pressure of how to keep us alive. But in any kind of higher sense, it's limiting and it's controlling. It's like having a parent, pay your allowance, but here's what you have to do to get it. And I feel like what you're going to have to do to get it is going to get more and more strict for everybody. Love that so many of us are remembering, so we'll be harder to forget. Wow. Also unplugging of ego on the matrix. Yep. Ego is our receiver for the matrix programming. And it's just my own thoughts. We don't have to get rid of it. We can use ego as a guide to show us when we have forgotten ourselves. So it's literally like, we can be awake, aware, asleep. Okay, where did I just forget myself? The minute we realize we've veered off path, the minute we realize we've gone to sleep again. Now, asleep doesn't mean unaware, because there's plenty of people right now, you watch them. Watch them this week. This week, as you're scrolling through social media, as you're having conversations with people, start to, as you yourself are having thoughts, insights, start to become aware of where you're awake and where you're aware. Start to become aware of others who are aware, or are they awake? So aware, plenty of people are aware. Aware of all sorts of different things. Like none of us are necessarily 100% right. We've all got different snippets of what's actually going on. And most likely we're creating that so much ourselves that our reality will be different, for each one of us. But the awareness, so you'll meet people who will go, this is what's happening, this is what's going on, the government are doing this, right? They're switched on. They're switched on in terms of their awareness of what's going on, but they're not in their power. And the step there is that's being awake. That's being awake. When you're aware of what's going on and you stay in your power and you go, no, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. I'm not feeding you. I'm not going to be your projector screen. I will not envision what you want me to create. I will not create hell on earth for you. I'm busily creating heaven on earth for me. I'm going to write that down. I will forget it. I will not create hell on earth for you. I'm busy creating heaven on earth for me. So last time I reminded you that, or the time before, that ego can't hold the heaven template. So ego can only create hell on earth, because ego can only create our worst nightmare, our biggest fears. Again and again and over and over and over and over again, like some Groundhog Day crazy karmic cycle, trapped, imprisoned slave planet, which is what many of us felt like this was, which is what many of us have been taught this is. It is, but it's a matrix program. And so you just need to step out of that. You don't need to leave the planet. We don't need to overthrow the government. We don't need, there's so many things we actually don't need to do. We literally just need to open the veil. Okay, the card that just came flying out then, and let me know if you have any questions, thoughts, feelings about what we covered today. Do you want to, if you want to, share with us how you're going to set the tone for this week? What tone are you going to set? Okay, we are the Hathors. Deep love, mother's milk, birth as a portal. So this is the great rebirthing, and we can start to use birth as a portal. So birthing an idea, birthing a creation, birthing all like, and birth like every aspect that birthing takes. And also remembering that if the body can create a fully formed human, then you can imagine when you're actually like purposefully envisioning, creating, and embodying what you can create. So good to hear this today. Really needed to hear this. So many even spiritual teachers disregarding the mind or the body. Yeah, look, why would we be here? Why would we be here with a body if it wasn't part of the thing? If we didn't need it, you wouldn't have it. It's like parts of the body. If we don't yet know what they do, and really probably it's only the appendix, then we just don't yet know what it does. It's not there accidentally. You don't have a body accidentally. So the body is a portal, the mind is a portal, the heart is a portal. Some of us are mind people, and we like feel really uncomfortable in the body. I did for such a long time. I still can. We can feel, some people feel really uncomfortable with a heart, like I don't want to have these emotions. I don't want to cry. I don't want to be weak. I don't want to. But once we take away all the warped teachings that we've had about each of these things, if we can stop them from convincing us that the mind, the body, or the heart, emotions could be flawed, then that's how we'll really step into our mastery and become the creator beings, really embody the creator beings that we are on this plane, right? Because maybe we've been creator beings, maybe we are creator beings, masters, like we probably are masters, but in different realms. And we went, you know what? I want to go down there and do it. I know myself what I'm like. If there is darkness, I'll go, or if there's a problem, if there's like people struggling, I know I would have been like, let me down there. I'll have a go. Let me have a go. I know I would have done that. So both of these cards, yes, this one first. Jane, there is always evidence of abundance around us despite what we're told. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the fact that the human body can be as poisoned as it is, as like just like what we are just pelted with, like energetically and physically and all the chemicals and crap, and we're still here. Oh my God. Imagine the power. And then when people say to me, well, do we have the power to kind of, what's the word? An issue with words today. Do we have the power to kind of like stop things from harming us? Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, I still would not have that because I'd be going against myself. So that's a big one for me. Don't go against yourself. I feel like that's, how can I be in alignment when I go against myself? I feel people also awake, aware, but also you see them taking responsibility for everything in their life and knowing we are all students as well as teachers. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. There's a big one in that with the whole kind of categories of empaths and narcissists that you see a lot in the spiritual world, and it's time to move beyond that shit. Okay, weight of the world. Weight of the world. That doesn't seem very clear, but boundaries, let it go. It's not yours to carry. Weight of the world, boundaries, let it go. It's not yours to carry. And we'll finish off on this. Star ancestors. Star ancestors. Hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper. Okay, so when I test up, like, is it important that they are pyramids? Yes. Star ancestors. So who we are. We are the star ancestors. Hidden secrets, lost wisdom, look a little deeper. And this is about shedding that human heaviness. Weight of the world, weight of the matrix, weight of the matrix, all the weight they try and put on us, all that you are flawed, there's not enough, we're all going to die, oh my God, we're doomed. All of that is the weight of the world. Let it go and unveil. Anything else? Yes. Okay, so it's testing up. Someone needs guidance on something quite specific, and I don't know who it is. Do a card and they'll know who it's for. Okay. One from, okay. Okay, so this is for one of you. They know who they are. Okay. Just shuffle through one card. Yes. Okay, beautiful. Okay. Oh, that's great, Star Bell. Okay. Water Guardian, connect with your emotions. Okay, so this is for one of you and also from the book. All right, let me have a look. You'll know who you are. Water Guardian, connect with your emotions. Let me have a look what the actual... Starbell, is that you, Sarah? Or is that someone? Do I know you, Starbell? Water Guardian. $114. Okay, so I'm reading this out, telling me it's for someone specific, and you will know who you are. The Water Guardian represents the angels of water who can help you dive within to understand the depths of your emotions. These angels are all about helping you see that your emotions aren't just the feelings that are on the surface. They're also the old emotions you may have locked deep within the shadows of your soul. Through helping you acknowledge your deepest emotions, the angels of water help you to hear the messages these have for you and to unlock your intuitive powers and the energies of abundance. So that is for one of you. And I'm going to finish off now so you can, once this uploads, you can just fast forward all the way through to the end if you need to hear that again and listen to it again. All right. Oh, are you usually called Chloe? I think I do know you from somewhere. Great, beautiful. Thank you everyone for being here. That was a great one. It's a great one. I think it's going to be very powerful when we really own all those three aspects of this experience and just master them and really start to use them to vision our own, like to be in our own vision, to create that and embody that for ourselves. All right, everyone who joined live, thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments and your energy. It's always helpful. It always helps me to, Chloe. Okay, yeah, I don't know you from somewhere. Really lovely to, like you definitely help bring it forward for sure. No doubt about that. And if you are watching the replay, I'm glad you found this, it found its way to you. You're welcome, Jane. Thanks, everybody, and I will see you next week, if not for some spontaneous live on Instagram. All right, much love.